Hi everyone, welcome to vérité-ou-conséquences.com, a website dedicated to spreading crucial information about truth, freedom, objective morality, and natural law. Um, I'm back today from a month hiatus where I try to put some order in my personal life and try to spend time with my daughter. Um, Now today my guest, my very good friend, Chill Will Keller. Hi Will.
What's
How
up,
you doing,
brother?
man?
Thanks for having me, man. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, thanks for accepting the invitation, man. I know you're very busy working on many projects with our friend John Whitehogan on the Natural Freedom League, and also helping people on the One Great Work Network with their content and all kind of stuff. So I really appreciate you take the time to come and chat with me. So yeah, the subject for today will be is it possible to be labeled or to be an anarchist and a theist or an atheist at the same time? Because as during my hiatus, I try to stay off the social media as much as possible, um, for my mental health and and but there's so much lies and deception in the media, the mainstream media, social media everywhere. But at some point I saw this post on Facebook, and because I know you manage the Mark Passio Natural Law Facebook page and also on MeWe, so you really know how much lies and deception you can find on these platforms. But basically, I saw this comment saying, "I am an atheist and anarchist, and all the anarchist theists out there are confused idiots." And
Mhm.
then I replied, saying it's impossible to be an anarchist and to be an atheist at the same time. And then conversation really went down the drain. She said, "Go fuck yourselves" and everything. I'm not gonna mention her name, but I really and that kind of comments um, are doing a great disservice to the whole freedom and truth movement, because of because actually it's a lie, and we're gonna try to set things straight. Maybe gonna start with giving your or a definition of, again, we're gonna have to repeat and hammer this again and again. What is anarchism and what is atheism? First, trying to find what these words mean, because a lot of people, they use these words and they label themselves anarchists without even knowing what it is. So why don't you start off with telling us what is anarchy or anarchism or an anarchist, as well as atheism first, and then we'll uh,
Yeah.
go down on the subject.
Yeah, it's a really important topic. And a lot of people go down this cul-de-sac and we see it time and time again. Once again, what is the definition of anarchy? So you have an, which means without, archon, which means ruler. So anarchy literally means without rulers. Now, that does not mean no rules, and I think this is where a lot of the atheist anarchist supposedly, where they do the no masters and no slaves and no gods, or no gods, no slaves, right? I'm not sure where that came from, but if they're if they're talking about no gods in the sense of archons, there that's not the proper term to be using, right? I mean, I understand that, but most people, when they apply that, they are coming from an atheistic mindset. um, and so with anarchy, obviously it does not mean no rules. The rules are objective morality, natural law, right? Do no harm, take no shit, the non-aggressive principle, and the self-defense principle. These are basic, fundamental, the two pillars of human rights and objective morality. So that is the inherent laws of nature that were not man-made. They're woven into the fabric of creation that, bind human beings, the consequences of human beings' actions. And so that's what anarchy means. Now, to be an atheist, you're claiming that there is no higher power. So you're claiming that human beings are the apex of creation, right? Or of the apex species of the planet. It's such an oxymoron because there's no way that you can say you are a moral being or that you follow or understand natural law, but then again say there's no higher force. It's impossible by definition. So, and the thing with atheism, it's just another belief system. It's another religion. And this is why most people, they get emotional when you bring that topic up, when you try to dig deep into the philosophical reasoning, using logic and reason, they backpedal and they get emotional, like that lady that you were talking about, right? Telling you just to go fuck off, and that's always where most of the time where it ends up. So it's it's part of the dialectic, the religious dialectic. You're either, far right brained, where you subscribe to the cultural religions, or any religions, mainly the cultural religions, with Sky Daddy's going to come and save you, which abdicates responsibility, right? You don't have to do anything because it's already determined. This is the full-blown deterministic, uh, falsely perceived reality. And then the opposite spectrum of that, right? That's one side of the dialectic. The opposite spectrum is atheism, where there is no creator. Human beings are the apex. And it's common when someone plays into a dialectic to swing to the opposite polarity. So it happens with a lot of people, but using logic and reason, you have to go back to nature, right? Nature is non-man-made. What is natural? What is artificial? Natural, it's inherent. It exists. Human beings did not create it. It is here, and that is put there by the higher force, the creative intelligence, God, whatever you want to, coin that term. It's a personal term that's part of the process of why we're here, is to develop a relationship, because that is a part of us and we are a part of it.
Right, right. And what one thing she replied is, she said, when I say no master, I say no master, as if God would be a master. And that's where, people, they label themselves anarchist, atheist. It's because they think that God is a master. God is law, and it's not something that I believe. I think it's something that you can really come to realization, and you can really um, uh, understand that truth from observation. Observing the way society works, the way the current human condition on Earth, which is slavery.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't lie to yourself, when you look at it really objectively, and it's not that God, uh, as a master, punish you or rewards you. It's God is law. So actually what it means is that the laws have been there since the creation, since the universe exists. And it's your responsibility, or it's your duty, to align yourself or your behaviors to these laws or not. And then you'll suffer the consequences, good consequences, if you align yourself with these principles, these laws, or bad consequences, bad karma if you don't align yourself. So it's not a question of, that bearded guy in the sky called God who punishes like the Jewish God, or most of the gods in many religion, uh, traditional religion, where there's a punishment. What would you say that about the fact that they postulate that no master, no slave means no master, like no God,
Mhm.
to in the equation.
Yeah. So, ultimately that's the ego. This is egotism, right? Because the ego always wants to make things separate. And what people need to understand that we are a part. It's one and the same. And how you get there is, like you said, observing the effects of the laws of nature. We can see it's woven all through the fabric of the natural world and within ourselves. And this is where natural law is so important. Not only is natural law, we use that to communicate morality and what human rights are, but it's the laws of nature. This is how one can learn and understand ourselves. Most of our viewers probably know the phrase "know thyself." It really is like the most important phrase out there, because this is what the laws of nature can teach us. We can learn about ourselves, how our psyche works, how our emotions, the physical body, and the metaphysical and the physical. And this is the pathway. Dissecting these laws and learning how they work externally in our environment and internally, and how they affect us. For instance, the first law, right? The first principle is mentalism. The all is mind. The mind is all. We can use that to understand what God is, the source of creation. It's mind. It's the one mind, the source, the one mind of everything. And that applies, using another principle, correspondence, as above, so below. We can apply that within ourselves. We have mind first. Mind is everything. It's all about your state of mind. So using these laws, one can come to know God, not in the totality, but in one sense, absolutely. And we get to know ourselves, and that's part of the process of why we're here. We're in this reality field to grow in consciousness, to discover ourselves, right? To build that relationship with ourselves and the higher force. And obviously, there's a task to do in this reality, and that is to help our fellow humans and slavery and fellow beings as well. So, but on the grand scale, this is a schoolyard, and we're here to evolve in consciousness. And that, applies to the relationship of the creator and within ourselves. It's one and the same. See, and that's where atheism, they have to separate it, right? Oh, God's just this master that oversees everything, and he full control. They put it, it's almost that's why it's a religious mindset, because it's almost like a sky daddy, but it's for them, it's their ego. So they have all these blocks. And so yeah, using natural law, that is the pathway to understand on a deep level our relationship to source and ourselves.
That's right. And also they often associate theism with the traditional religion, which is totally two different things. You said it. God is, in Hermetic philosophy, they say God is all, and all is unknowable. So you can, try to understand, with our human perspective, what is God, but you'll never fully understand what it is, since it's all, and we cannot with our limitation, know everything, but
Yeah.
we can actually understand enough, of how the universe works to be certain that there is an higher force which, binds us all and sets the rules. But eh, we are still free to break it or not. There's no. But the more we break God's rules, the more we suffer the consequences. The rules have been set, for eternity, for at all place, at all times, and all planes of existence, whether it's the mental, spiritual, physical. So you cannot escape that. Or by denying its existence, then yes, you fall into, you said, egotism or solipsism.
Exactly.
And solipsism, which took notes, is come from the Latin adjective solus, which mean alone, and the Latin pronoun ipse, which means self. So it's
Hmm.
the ideology that only one's own mind is sure to exist, and and
Which
and
there's another name for that as well, right? Satanism.
Satanism. That's the one of the tenet.
Yeah.
That's one
This
of
is
the
why
tenet.
atheism is so it's such a big problem, and I'm glad we're having this conversation because it's the destroyer of freedom, really. Because when you're in that mindset that there is no higher force, higher order, um, what you're really saying is that it doesn't matter what you do. So now we have moral relativism. Morality doesn't, it's subjective. It doesn't matter. It's all about my own mind and what I think. And so we see solipsism, um, and then moral relativism. They go hand in hand. And this is where, I'm going to blast on atheism, atheists right now, because it's truly an irresponsible mindset, and they lack philosophy, like digging deep into true philosophy, right? Philos, the love for wisdom and understanding, because philosophy, I mean, it goes down into metaphysics, right? Metaphysics is beyond physics, beyond the physical, which we break everything down in this in the material world. It's energy, so we're talking about the energetic laws, and this is where you go into and you discover the laws of nature, natural law. But when you're an atheist, matter is prime. It's all about the physical world. So you're constantly viewing the effects. You're not getting to the causal factors, and so that's why it's a big problem. Mainly because you're not going to do the work. Most people aren't going to do that internal work. It's just it's just whatever they want to do. So, and they always bring up the fact that there's no evidence, which that's bullshit. There's plenty of evidence. It's all around us and inside us, right? All we have to do is observe the effects of natural law, the metaphysical universal laws. We can see this, and it's you can go into sacred geometry and mathematics. It's like there's obviously an order, right? An intelligence in the natural world. I mean, we see this in everything. And with atheists, it's just everything is just random. Shit just started on its own. There's no order to it. There's no sequence or anything. It's like taking a whole bunch of pieces of a computer, throwing them up in the air, and then it lands, and you have a full blown computer, a working computer that works perfectly. It's just like the Big Bang. All that's bullshit. So that's
That's
my
right.
thoughts.
That's right. You said it. The refusal of objective morality and natural law, it equals the denial of the requirement for true freedom and anarchy, because it really separates these two, and it's just random chaos, um, which is, not really observing what's going on around you and really again, it's really about uh, centering the world around you and around what you believe, and the rest is just, random chaos. And yeah, so it really get so that's why it really set my ass on fire to see that kind of comment on the internet, because, and there's a lot, media, everyone is throwing lies out there and deception, but this one in particular, I really wanted to set things straight, you know
Mm,
um and and one of the thing also, it's about where you put your energy. It's all about where you put your energy, the most important currency, time and attention. um, because, and when you're an atheist, you're going to put all your attention and time into yourself, into your own interests. You're not going to go for higher interests or higher our goals. And I think that atheism, that's what I said. These people, these atheists, are really afraid of falling into or being associated with the traditional religion. And 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 would you say, for example, very tough question here, and I didn't give you the question in advance, so it's. But would you say that theism is also a religion?
yeah. Well, a religion is anything that is based in dogma and it is unchallenged thought forms. Um, so, for instance, the government, right? That's a religion, right? You can't challenge it. It's not based in the natural world. It's not based on the laws of nature. It's artificial. It's a false axiom. They're false thought forms. They have no basis in the natural world. They're not backed up by any truth whatsoever. They're not in alignment with truth. That makes them dogmatic. So the the answer, and this is why, when an atheist says that they want anarchy, it's impossible. They don't know what it truly means, because anarchy is an effect, right? Anarchy is an effect, and the cause is an aggregated of society living morally, right? Their actions. So those two can't go together. It's impossible. If you're going to be an anarchist, you obviously, if a true anarchist, you understand natural law, the laws of nature, this objective truth, objective morality. These are the perimeters which bind us in this reality field. And so to be a theist, like the founding fathers, right, were simple deists, meaning that you acknowledge that there is a higher force in nature, in the natural world. So uh, that's not a religion, right? Because it's not a belief system, because all belief is dogmatic, it's artificial, it's not based in truth. But there is a higher order, there's a creative intelligence and a higher power in the natural world. It is nature. I mean, to me, God is one and the same with nature. It The force created nature and is nature. And same with these laws, and that's what connects us. That's why we are a part of it. We're not separate from nature. Um, so that's what makes something. That's why I try to completely get away from any kind of belief systems whatsoever. I don't hold beliefs, I hold experiences. And if I don't know something, I can't validate something, then I just don't know. And I'm looking into it, right? So,
Right,
and
Gnosis.
yeah, exactly, gnosis. And that's the problem. People, they just collect belief systems like it's a hobby, right? And because a belief system makes you feel comfortable.
Exactly.
It's all based on emotion. It's like it's heart control, emotional control, and also mind control, right? But it makes you feel comfortable. That's why when you challenge, that's why it's, unchallenged, but when you do challenge it, people get reactive, emotionally reactive. It pulls on that heartstrings because it's not based in truth. They don't actually have the answers to back it up. So they get backed up into corners.
That's right. And they answer by saying, get the fuck off. And
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
why I didn't, I don't usually go into deep into these kind of, rambling on Facebook, because I know it's gonna lead nowhere. And that's why I decided okay, I'm gonna do a little podcast with someone who knows who's talking what is talking about, instead of, you know, losing my time and energy into with someone who exactly having an emotional reaction to something that uh, is not comfortable, you know. And you're right. A lot of people, they look for easy answers on the TV, but also on the real, all kind of traditional religions. What's gonna happen after I die? Where do I go? What is the soul? So, we're every human being is in a quest for these answers, but sometimes the easy answer is probably not the right one. And
Mm.
that's why also teaching natural law is so, it's tough, because most of the people, they will reject that idea, because it's as we said, it's not comfortable. It can get really painful at times, to discover um how how the universe operates, and where do we sit in this universe. But at the same time, you still have the free will to choose. But again, if you don't have the proper information, or the proper mindset, the proper level of consciousness to take the right decision, to align yourself with objective morality, then you're gonna fall into all these improper mindsets or religion, like atheism. And
Mhm.
also, you're going to still want to be labeled as an anarchist, because it's cool. Yeah, anarchy. Yeah. And, I'm a rebel. I have no master. I'm a tough guy,
Yeah.
a tough girl. But you don't really know what these concepts mean. And you just throwing that on social media to look cool. And again, it's really paying a great disservice to to the people who are trying to really raise awareness about these concepts, slowly but surely. uh, Even more now with everything that's going on around the world, it's even more important than ever now, to not let these people throw false or notions, and they associate themselves with the anarchist movement. And that's where it can get really dangerous, because people will think, okay, this is anarchy. This so atheism is a good thing. So I'm not gonna look further into what these anarchists who are talking about God and natural law are saying. So it's very important to make a point there, and to set things straight.
Yeah, a couple things I want to say. I want to point out how your actions, where you didn't engage into any more conversation with that lady. She was already closed-minded, right? So you had the self-respect to say, okay, not giving you any more of my energy, my currency, my time and attention. And instead you transmuted that into a good conversation with myself. That's awesome. That's healthy. That's how it should be. And people need to watch out for that, because that's what social media does. And it's constantly just siphoning energy and doing that. I take more of the, I post and ghost, right? I post stuff to get people's attention. If someone wants to engage in a conversation, I might dabble a little bit, but I don't. engage into quarrels or anything like that. I don't waste my time with that shit. I'd rather go do some videos, do something creative. And another thing I wanted to say is, with the movement, the anarchist movement, right? This is why it's so important to understand that the physical and the spiritual are one and the same. What does it mean to be spiritual, right? True spirituality is understanding nature. That it's that simple. Obviously, it's, I'm simplifying the profound. It's a lot more complex than that, but that is what it's about. It's about understanding the natural world. What comes with that? Obviously, knowing yourself, knowing your psyche through and through. A good saying that I like to stick with is be the seeker, because it's real easy to go through life and stop at a certain point, meaning that you've reached a comfortable spot in life where you feel like you've gathered enough information, you have a understanding, and you don't want to go any further, right? Mark Passio says, pitching the tent halfway up the mountain. So, be the seeker, and this goes for everyone. It can be Mark Passio, Michael Tsarion, whatever. You got to be the seeker. You have to keep going and deepening that understanding of yourself and nature and reality, because it's extremely easy to just stop at a certain point because it's comfortable. But understanding yourself and understanding how your psyche works, this is a journey. This is a learning journey. We're constantly changing. Therefore, our psyche's changing. Therefore, our skill sets on how we learn and what we learn need to be fluid as well. So,
Right. It's not easy to be open to, ideas that really challenge your own conception of the world. But that's really one of your goal on earth. You said know thyself. If you're not gonna really know yourself if you don't want to dig, and you don't want to. Sometimes, of course, it's gonna be painful because you're gonna maybe realize, but that what you believe is wrong. And one of the good example, the flat earthers. I don't want to go that much into the subject, but one thing about them is that they are willing to challenge everything that, even something that's been around, the idea that of a globe earth, like my globe earth behind. So that's one of the things that I really admire in that group. It doesn't mean that I agree with them, doesn't mean that it really resonates with the truth within myself, but actually what it's that they are able to really put that into perspective, even the idea that the earth is a globe. So that's really something that it's really tough, and a lot of people are tough on the flat earthers because of that. It's really it really hurts your conception of the whole universe and the whole astronomy and everything. So but at least they have the courage to challenge, and say that it could be a whole scam, just this could be a whole scam, even though it's not really true. At least they are challenging that idea,
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword, right? That group of people, they challenge everything, right? They're challenging everything, which is good. But then it's easy to get caught in that box of consciousness, and turn it into a religion, turn it into a belief system, and then you don't go any further. See, that's the problem. You could take in that information and dissect it and pick and pull from it as you wish to do that, right? I mean, there's a lot of shit I agree with them when it comes to like NASA. NASA's full of shit, and I mean, there's a list of stuff. Not saying that I agree that of the shape of the Earth. I'm not a flat earther. I'll say that. But um, going further, getting down to the real issues, because with that movement and like many others, it's real easy to get sidetracked from what's actually taking place in the natural world, right? I mean, it doesn't really matter right now when the human condition is slavery and moving, you know, steadfast towards physical bondage slavery. You know what I mean? So there's other priorities, but it has turned into a religion as well for a lot of people and many other, groups. I mean, any of these movements can turn into, a belief system that just stops your progress, right? The health freedom movement, um, anti-vaccines, vaxes, all that stuff. It can halt your progress in your evolutionary growth, and that's a problem. You have to constantly question, use logic and reason, and get down to the causal factors.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I'm also gonna. I think it's gonna be a good way to end this conversation. I'm gonna also throw out there, I've published a few months ago an extract from Callan Lee. The he did with an interview with Joe Bandel called "The Last Rosicrucian," and Joe Bandel said, something that really struck me. He said that, praying, when you pray in the morning and when you pray at night, it's not about, necessarily being religious or believing in that you're going to be safe with God, but praying, what you do when you pray is that you put energy, you put your time, you put your attention into a thought, you know, or desire that something that you want. It's like same thing with the PNL. It's the same principle. And so by putting all this energy into that prayer, into that wish that you have or whatever, it helps, it to come to realization. Uh, it's not necessarily that God will grant you that wish. So of course the religion aspect of it, but all I'm gonna say is where you put your energy, is really where what's gonna happen in your life. Everything. So, Will, why don't you tell us about your upcoming projects? I know you're working on many things. You're very busy. Again, I really appreciate you accepted my invitation for this little chat. So, what's
Man.
next for you?
I always make time for you, Dom, for sure, man. It's a pleasure.
Thanks,
Yeah,
brother.
got a lot of cool stuff going on. John Wydogan and I with Natural Freedom League, we got some videos coming out. We have a new website that we're going to launch, and that's coming soon. So we'll do a debut on that. And then we also got some music. We're working on an EP. John and I have dabbled into the hip hop industry in our previous selves. So we're bringing that shit back, dusting the pipes off and getting on the mic. So that's going to be fun.
Good.
And then I'm also performing at the Seed 4 conference on May 14th, and I'm doing a presentation titled "Conscious Parenting for Conscious Beings." Right? And Dom, I had the pleasure of having you on, and we did a little back and forth 2-part series with that, so that was dope. Now I'm doing a finalized presentation for it, and I think it's an important topic, especially what's going on right now, where we do need, men to activate that masculine and start defending principles and morality, right? And also women, we need those mama bears to start stepping up as well, because a lot of crazy shit going on. So it's gonna be a good event.
Absolutely. I really look forward to it. Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you, brother.
Likewise, man. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Take care. Peace.
All right, brother. Later.
Old pirates, yes, they rob I, sold I to the merchant ship. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. But my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever